All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the podcast. We hope you enjoyed last episode. I know we did. Very, very fun to sit there and record. Today is very different compared to our normal recording standards. It is early in the morning, at least for us, as far as recording goes, 11:48 a.m. Feeling great. We just went to Early Bird Coffee.
It was so good.
It was very good. The vibes were immaculate. Wasn't too crazy of a drive from where we live, but depending on what part of San Antonio you live in, it could be a drive. But it was very good. I'm still sipping on mine. Marisol already finished hers. But we both just got iced vanilla lattes. You got oat milk in yours, and then I got almond milk. So it's really good. Really enjoyed. We'll be posting about them pretty soon. I guess by the time this episode comes out, we will have already posted about them. So, just be sure to check our Instagram and, go to their Instagram and check them out because they were awesome.
Yeah, something I also liked about them was that the guy was super nice that took our order, and we asked if they had any gluten-free options, and he was like, no, but we like it from different bakeries. I think he said every week or every now and then.
Yeah, so he said they'll promote like a local bakery or a local baker, and that person brings out treats, and I guess they sell them sort of like kind of like those pop-up events that some people would do on occasion. So it seems pretty cool. We're gonna check it out. I'm very hyped for that. But no, it was really chill. The guy was really nice, and he even asked too. He was like, "Do y'all like it on the sweet side, not too sweet?" And we said not too sweet, but like this tastes pretty good, and like the coffee that they used. Sometimes when you get coffee, and especially too when you use like the alternative milks like we do, the milk tends to not really overpower the coffee as much, and so you can taste the bitterness of coffee depending on the type of bean, and it's different everywhere that we go. I know one place that's, I'm not saying that it's bad, but it has a more bitter flavor. It's Shotgun Coffee Roasters. Their bean has a more bitter flavor. It's still good though, don't get me wrong, but it's different from coffee shop to coffee shop, and this one wasn't as bitter, and so it did taste more on the sweeter end because the coffee wasn't overpowering so much of the vanilla flavoring.
Yeah, it was really smooth, like to drink.
Yeah.
I know other places, like you said, it's not harder and it's not bad. It's just like you can taste the bean a little more.
The bean.
Yeah.
Very solid though. Really enjoyed it. Yeah, shit, I got work at 3, so that's why we're recording so early. Trying to make it a point to stay on top of our recordings and be just a little bit ahead of schedule, just in case, especially too for like midterms and finals. That way we can have some leeway and we don't have to record in the event that we're studying a lot for those tests or exams. But yeah, feeling great. Today's episode is a fun one, in my opinion. I think it's something that has been ever evolving since my freshman year. And I think your habits have changed as well. And, today's episode is study habits that work for us. We jotted down a few of those habits on some sticky notes here, so we'll kind of go over them and just kind of describe like what has worked for us, and maybe even get into a little bit of how they've evolved over time. Because I mean, even from high school to my freshman year, the habits have completely changed. And now from my freshman year of college to now it's my junior year. Yeah, my second semester of junior year. It is again even more different than it was from the beginning of my college career. But with all that said, we can definitely get into these. Did you want to start or you want me to start?
I can definitely start if you want me to.
Go over some.
Okay, so my study habits, they have changed a lot depending on like the course and the class that I'm taking. But most of the time I feel like I do the same stuff. And this isn't saying like it completely works for every single class, but this is what I find myself doing for most of my classes. So first off, I like to study or like plan when I'm gonna study for like 3 to 4 days in advance. So I look at my schedule and be like, oh, I have time here, I have time there. And if we're not doing anything in the morning, I usually like study in the morning, you know. And I don't know, I really like studying in the morning. So I find that that works a little better for me. So I do like my LSAT in the morning. And then in the afternoon, I do like my courses. So I find that that's helpful for me in retaining information.
Yeah.
And so it's the first thing I do, like plan out when I'm going to study and how that's going to work out. Just because if I don't plan it, I don't really study and I don't like do everything that I need to in that day. So that's the first thing that I do. After that, like actually studying, I go ahead and I read all of my material. So I have a lot of books I have to read and like do analysis on. So I'll read it first and then I'll highlight, maybe ask some questions like on the page or on a little sticky note. But if I don't understand it once I'm done like reading the whole thing, I go and I read like the highlighted parts again because I highlight the most important facts or I feel like are main points or themes that I'm looking for. And then kind of see how I can branch off of there. After that, I go ahead and I like to listen to podcasts or YouTube videos pertaining to the subject that I'm studying. And then for my other English classes, if the book we're reading has like a historical event in it, I go ahead and like watch a video on YouTube or a podcast episode that pertains to that certain event. And that's really all I do. I also make flashcards sometimes. Sorry, my throat is like, she's dying for some reason. I don't know why. Yeah, so I listen to podcasts and do my little note cards or flashcards. And that really helps. I used to do them on Quizlet, but I haven't used Quizlet because I heard it costs money now. So,
Really?
yeah, so I don't use Quizlet anymore. I used to do it so, like, on my time off, I could make, like, little flashcards, but I just type in the information, and then anywhere I am, I can, like, do the flashcard. But I heard it costs money, so I haven't downloaded it again.
I don't know if it costs money. I use Quizlet a lot to like look over stuff. I've never like made anything on Quizlet though. I've only ever looked at other people's Quizlets.
Yeah, well, it was one of my, it's not a Bible class, my theology course. There was a lot of information that I did not know. And we were mainly looking at like historical facts and all that information. I didn't know that. Like I know the Bible stories, but I didn't know like the historical background of it.
Yeah.
So I had to make a bunch of flashcards for them. And I tried looking for flashcards for them, right? I was like, oh, maybe somebody like had to make them on Quizlet too, right? So I looked it up. Nobody had anything. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to have to make all of them by myself. And the flashcards really helped because usually like he would just reword the question a little bit. And I'm like, oh, I know the answer. And it really helped for that class. So I really like flashcards. Excuse me. Even for the LSAT, in my books, it's like, oh, memorize these wordings because for this specific question, right? And so I need to make flashcards for those too. But I don't always like writing them down. So that's why I liked using Quizlet.
Yeah.
So rip to Quizlet. I have to find another way that I can do it. It's just because I really liked it because I could just be anywhere and I'd be like, oh,
Yeah.
let me study real quick.
I mean, have you used Quizlet or you're just kind of going off of a rumor? Because who knows? Maybe it is still free, but there's like a paid portion of it now.
Well, I've seen a bunch of like TikTok videos where they try and log in and you have to like pay for it now.
Really?
Yeah. Maybe that's just them. Like they were already on a paid version.
Yeah, like you can log in and like you still have your account. Like I log in all the time because I have like saved chapters of other people's Quizlets.
Yeah,
Like
no.
your history that you can look through.
Yeah, I don't have that. I have the ones I made.
Yeah, I don't make any. And I use the website. I don't have the app.
Maybe it is different. I don't know. I haven't looked at it because I was like, oh, I guess it's just for everybody then.
Yeah, try it out because I know like a lot of different websites, they'll start off free and they'll still remain free, but then they add like paid versions of it with like extra perks or whatever. So that could be it. Maybe now there's like a limit to how much you can do or how much you can create with the free version. You know, sometimes they do that to try and incentivize, like, if you really want to take advantage of it, pay us like $5.99 a month or some BS like that, you know.
Okay. Yeah, I should probably look at it.
Yeah, definitely.
But no, I don't really do a lot to study. Like, if I keep doing those things, I usually like come out pretty well
Mm-hmm.
in my grades. Essay wise though, I plan those like 2 weeks in advance.
Yeah.
And so every week I'll write like a paragraph or a paragraph or two, and then the last few days I revise it.
Yeah.
So that's why I write my essays. I don't really have a lot of courses where I need to study for them anymore. What I'm really studying for is the LSAT, but in my past courses, that's what I've done.
Okay. So I know you've mentioned kind of getting ready in advance. Is there any sort of other like prep work that you do? Like I know you have an agenda. Like how far in advance are you planning out your semester? Are
Um,
you jotting down all of the due dates, or are you just kind of going like week by week or a couple weeks at a time?
so I jot down all of my major work or where I
Mm-hmm.
know like, oh, I have an essay due then, or I have
Yeah.
to turn in my analysis for that class or anything like that. If I have an assignment due, I write it down on the monthly portion
Mm-hmm.
and then I highlight it so every class has a different color.
Mm-hmm.
And then week wise, I'll look at the monthly portion and be like, oh, I have this assignment coming up in like a week and a half. So I
Yeah.
better start doing it tomorrow or the next day, right? And start looking at like the information I need to do. So that's how I usually do it. I have all my major due dates, like I said, just on the monthly part, and I look at that week by week to make sure I'm not like missing anything.
Mm-hmm.
But some of my courses, like this semester, and I've had it like the past semester too, they don't upload it like at the beginning of the semester. So our syllabus is like changing all the time.
Really?
And so,
Kind of blows.
yeah, so so I can't really plan like for those
The whole
classes.
semester, yeah.
Yeah, and so sometimes I'll be like, "Oh my god, I have a reading." And I'm like, "Oh, it's cuz I didn't know." And I
Yeah.
was like, "How did I miss that?" And it's cuz it's not written down on my planner, but because I didn't have that before.
Uh-huh.
And my mom, she was telling me, I was telling her last semester like,
Mm.
"Yeah, my due dates are always changing." Right? And she was like, "Well, when I was in college, right? They once they gave out the syllabus, like that was it. Like they couldn't change it because then it would mess up the students, right? Especially if they've
Mm.
already like done a lot of work for it." And I was like, "Oh, okay." But I looked on the syllabus and it was like subject to change. And I'm like,
Yeah.
"That's how they get that's how they get away with it."
Yeah, a lot of all my professors do that too. Like the syllabus is subject to change, so be sure you're checking it on a weekly basis. There's only been one class that has changed the due date up on me. That was my accounting class. I think I remember. It was my accounting one class. Remember I told you I was like, I thought it was due this other day, and like it was due like the day prior, and I'm like, nah, that was due like this coming Friday, and for some reason it was due on a Tuesday, and I
Mm-hmm.
knew that because I had it down like in my reminders app, and I'll get into all that in a bit too, like how I set up like when stuff is due, but anyways, total BS. I emailed the professor and I'm like, I had it. I could have swore it was this date, and she's like, I told at the beginning of the semester, told you all the syllabus was subject to change, so that's on you for not looking at it. I'm like, fuck. I just had to take it to the chin. She did end up opening it back up though, and she gave me the opportunity to redo it, but it was going to be counted 4 days late. So that was 40% off, which means because it's 10% every day that it's late up until it's a week late, and then she
Mm.
won't accept it anymore. So the highest grade I could get was a 60, which I did get. I got a 60, but better than a 0.
Yeah. That's interesting that you're allowed to turn in late work. I'm not allowed in any of my classes to
It
turn anything
depends.
late.
It depends on the professor. They can set up their own policy for late work.
Mm-hmm.
My accounting one did it that way, where every day that it's late, it's 10% off, up until it's a week, which at that point, then she'll just fail you. So if you turn it on that 7th day, then that's 70% off, and then the highest grade you could get is a 30, right? But then after that, it's a 0. And that's assuming you get 100% technically, right?
Yeah.
But it's different from professor to professor. I've had some professors who accept no late work, no redos. Like if it's like a special case, you would need to have either send an email with like proof, so it's like a doctor's visit or something, or something of great importance, that you send him or her an email as soon as possible with like proof of that like being true. So if you just send an email like, "Oh, my grandma died," they'd be like, "Tough luck. Like, I need some proof about that or something," you know. For other classes, some people are like, you can turn in late work, but there's no redos, like at all. It's like if you do crappy, like, I'm sorry, you knew the assignment in advance. It's that's on you. And I was like, fuck.
Yeah, I don't think I've had anyone that accepts late work.
That's insane.
When I think about it.
Yeah, it's a private school. It's higher standards.
I don't know, honestly. I know a few professors who are pretty like, if you don't turn it in, then you just can't turn it in anymore. Yeah. And they won't change it at all for you. Other professors, I have to look at the syllabus and see what it says about that, but usually they don't accept it.
Yeah.
Maybe I did. Oh, I have one professor this semester actually, where she's like, I'll like be a little more lenient about like turning in late work because our class is pretty fast paced.
Yeah.
But I don't know like what the policy is on that because it doesn't say anything. So maybe she just still counts it as like you can get 100. So I don't really know. I just know most of my professors have been like, no, if you don't submit it, you get a 0. And that's why I'm always like on top of it because I'm scared of getting a 0.
I've gotten many zeros in college so far.
No, I don't know. I'm just pretty like stressed.
Yeah.
About due dates, so.
I know, my love. I know.
I know.
I know all too well. Like that Taylor Swift song, "All Too Well."
I love that song.
I know you do.
The 10-minute version, immaculate. Okay, we get it. Okay. You don't like Taylor Swift. No, yeah, my classes are pretty good this semester.
That's good.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't study, so I don't have much.
You don't study?
Yeah, like I don't study a lot. So it's like I don't have a lot of tips and tricks. I just kind of do my work.
You do your thing.
Yeah.
So I'm just doing my thing.
No, like I plan ahead. That's like the best tip I could give.
Yeah.
Be like 3 weeks ahead. I try to be ahead at least a few days in my assignments. So if it's due on the 18th, I submit it on the 16th. There are some instances where I submit it a few hours before it's due, but that's if it's like a really big assignment and I've been like working on it a lot. Yeah.
That's pretty solid. Yeah, I would have thought you would have more like ritualistic things that you would do. I mean, I guess in the sense, it's like the same thing every time. So in that sense, it is a ritual, right? But I guess it's different for everybody, especially too with like the private university and them not releasing the entire semester's worth of work at one time, or not even like releasing it, but having all of it set on the syllabus or like a calendar with, what you're doing and what's due every single week up until the very last week of school.
Yeah, well, the thing is that I don't take a lot of tests.
Yeah.
Like, I have projects, and then I have a bunch of essays due and discussions. So, like, we'll read something for the week, and then we discuss it, both class periods or meetings. And that's really it. And then I have to submit an analysis for it. The analysis that I have to submit is kind of like, it's kind of like a page. So, like, an essay, a mini essay, right? A week. But I don't have a lot of tests, so it's not like I'm studying all the time. The only thing I study for now is the LSAT, like I said. But before, I did have a bunch of tests I had to take, but those are for like my prerequisite classes or like the courses you have to take before you can get into like your actual like college and all of that.
Yeah.
But no, recently I haven't had any like tests. I've had projects which have been stressful. But no test. That's why I'm a little worried, like, for the LSAT, because I'm not, like, obviously I study for the LSAT, so I take, like, practice tests.
Yeah.
But I'm not constantly taking tests, so I'm not in that environment. And I'm like, damn, I'm not going to be used to that.
I think it'll be okay. You just have to put yourself in the mindset like it's any other assignment.
That's what I found. So last night when I was studying a little bit, I was like, oh, I've done questions like this because I have. They're all like similar question types. They just change the names and the settings, right? And so I'm reading them and I'm like, oh, I know what's happening here.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And so I got 17 out of 20 questions right in 30 minutes. That's pretty good. That's the best I've ever done. So it's like, I got this. I just have to tell myself to relax.
Yeah.
I find that when I'm relaxed, I do a lot better.
Yeah, you're able to think more clearly. I know some people say too, like, relaxing doesn't help them think clearly. It's almost like that nervousness makes you hone in. Like it's like an athlete who's got a lot of adrenaline going through them.
Mm-hmm.
It's like test adrenaline. You're just focused in, honed in on your test, heart's beating like crazy. But that does not work for everybody. I know some people that just makes them freak out more.
Speaking of that, so I was looking at tips on how to study for the LSAT and really be like focused. Because sometimes I'll be studying and then I like read a page and I'm like, oh my God, what just happened? Right? Like I have no idea what happened. And one of the guys was like, it's all about mindset. So just tell yourself you're happy to be there and like study. And so before I start studying, I like smile at myself in the mirror and I'm like, okay, I'm happy. I'm so excited to be studying. And I'm like, I'm going to be a lawyer. Like, I just have to motivate myself. If not, like, I'll be sitting there and I just start like sliding off my chair because it's a lot. But nah. So maybe that'll help some of y'all. Just trick yourself into thinking you're excited.
Yeah.
And like you enjoy it.
It's crazy that you say that too, because I recently watched a video. I think it was from my personal selling class. That guy who always does the Britain's Got Talent videos at the beginning of the modules.
Oh yeah, I love those.
He integrates a lot of videos into his modules that we go through. And there was this one, I forgot the name of this dude, but he was basically talking about how to feel like secure and motivated in your job and like be happy with yourself, because a lot of people constantly wake up like there's the vast majority of people in the workforce think they're in a dead end job, like they're very unhappy with their professional career. And it all comes down to mindset. Like everybody's always upset about their situation rather than making it positive. So he was like, in the morning you wake up and you're looking in the mirror before you go to work, you brush your teeth, and you just got to keep telling yourself, like, I am grateful for the position I'm in. The position that I'm in is going to allow me to, et cetera, right? And like, if you're not grateful, then you just have to still be positive and tell yourself that you're going to continue to work hard to put yourself in a new, better position. So it's like, if you're constantly being negative about it, then the day is going to drag on. And then if the day drags on, the week is going to drag on. And then if the week drags on, the month is going to drag on. And it's just going to be like that repeatedly every single month. And it's going to feel like time is just being wasted rather than you enjoying the time that you're in, being present and being happy. I was like, damn, that was crazy. And I'm like, fuck, I need to start doing that. So like, I'm not like constantly telling myself in the mirror like out loud, but I do like kind of get amped up. I'm like, all right, let's go to work. I can make a bag real quick, get some money. Like I'm gonna use this money to, throw into savings accounts, have extra money in my checkings, save up. Holidays are coming up. Like I'm telling myself that I'm doing what I'm doing now for the future. And so it definitely helps.
No, yeah. Sometimes it's just about psyching yourself out a little bit.
Yeah.
Because I do have weeks where I'm like, well, not weeks, it's like days, but it'll be like a clump of days. So like 3 days out of the week. Yeah. I'll be in like a rut and I can't get out. Like I'm so stressed for some reason. And it's not even that I have anything that I should be stressed about. I'm just stressed. And then that like hinders the way I'm able to like think in class or even do my assignments. And I'm like, man, what am I doing? And then I don't want to get up and I don't want to like go to class. And I'm like, what's happening? Like you were so excited a few days ago. Why are you freaking out now? And so I just got to tell myself I'm so happy that I have the opportunity to go to school and I need to make the best out of my education. Like my parents are not paying a lot of money so I don't like learn anything, So it's like I need to make the most out of it. Because sometimes I feel like definitely in high school, I was like, oh, like I just need to pass the class and get out, right? Well, now like I'm really into my degree and I need to learn as much as I can now. So when I'm a lawyer and I'm writing briefs or whatever, like I don't make any grammatical mistakes, or I can be very persuasive in the way that I talk.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to learn how to do that now so it can help me later.
Yeah.
But if I don't take the time to actually make the most out of my classes, then like I'm just wasting time. I'm wasting my time, my parents' money, the professor's time when they're trying to help me out. So yeah, sometimes I just gotta give myself a pep talk.
Yeah.
Also, if you're studying for the LSAT, I don't know if anyone is, but I've been listening to a bunch of podcasts, and that's kind of been like the way that I've been studying for like 30 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
So if I study for 2.5 hours, like 30 minutes in between is a podcast, and they just talk about like some tips that you can do or like questions that people ask. And I find that it really helps me, like hearing other people talk about things.
Yeah.
And how they do it. And if other people have like same concerns or similar questions, I'm like, oh, they just explained it for me, something that my book could not do.
Interesting. Well, if anybody does happen to be studying for the LSAT and is listening, I'll go ahead and link them down in the show notes. So if you want to check them out, you can click on those links.
Yeah, I just thought I'd mention that because I am like a visual learner, but hearing stuff, it really helps me, like really gets it into my brain. Because
like
if not,
passive learning.
Yeah, and so I'll be listening to it when I'm driving to school, which is like a 30-minute drive. So it's really nice.
Oh, that's good. It's pretty solid.
But yes, babe, what exactly do you do to study?
It's changed a lot. So high school, a lot of it was just trying to get all of my work done during school hours, so I didn't have anything to do at home. And that's just not possible. For one, because most of my classes are online, and the one in-person class that I do have, I'm just showing up for it and getting out of there. If I can, I'm not going to be at school for any longer than I have to be. I don't like being on the university grounds. Do I enjoy it? Yeah. But do I really want to be there for a long time? Not really. For one, traffic really sucks going to UTSA and coming back, depending on the time of day. So it's just not an enjoyable experience. I'm already burnt out from studying. I don't really want to be in traffic for 40 minutes. So I don't mind studying at school, but these tips that I'm going to get into, I think, have evolved throughout my freshman year up until now. Freshman year was completely online, and I did kind of start to step into some in-person classes. Found out that I don't like in-person classes. I find, quite frankly, a bit of a waste of time, in my opinion. What the professor covers can honestly be sent via a video or even just covered in an online module real quick. And that's exactly how I've been going about most of my classes. All of my online classes I have absolutely excelled in. All of my in-person classes have been a lot of extra unnecessary time wasted, in my opinion. So for me, initial setup consists of, at the beginning of the week, during syllabus week, my professors every single semester have all laid out the entire semester's work, and I'll go through in my Google Calendar and put in anything that I need to attend, either whether it be virtual or any in-person things, anything for my job. Like, I'm planning out the entire semester. That way I have my schedule laid out and I know when I'm free to either study, have free time, etc., etc. That's what the calendar is for, like for me being present and doing something. But then my reminders app, my Apple reminders, I take advantage of on my phone as well as on my iPad. And a lot of that is just reminders on what it is that I need to do, daily or weekly reminders. I don't just use it for school, I use it for other things as well. But for school, it really is just like quick little reminders, nothing too crazy. But something that I've started to utilize this semester specifically that has really worked out for me, because it integrates so well with Google Calendar, is Google Tasks. I only use Google Tasks for school. So I set it up that there's 4 task lists, 1 list for each of my classes, and I put in each of the class lists all the assignments and their due dates, and in the notes section of the task, anything specific. So if like module 1 consists of a few chapters, in that notes I'm putting the chapters, and I'm putting like the readings associated with the chapters. And it's great because all of that then shoots into my Google Calendar and I'm able to view it on the day that it's due, right? So I can see when things are due and I can kind of have a really good visual of just how many days or how many weeks I have to get certain things done. And if I see that one class has something due like way out into the semester, then I'm not really going to worry about that right now. I'm going to kind of push it off to the side and get everything done first. And that's what I've been doing, and that's what's been working. And this semester, straight A's so far, I've been doing amazing. Compared to the first semester of college, my freshman year, oh my goodness, it's been very bad. College career wise, the motivation was completely lost at the beginning. But I'm here and I'm doing a lot better. And Google Tasks and Google Calendar in tandem have been such an epic combo for me. But that's how I've been keeping track of what's due and what I have to do on a weekly and daily basis. But actually getting in and studying, that the habits that have worked for me, for one, listening to jazz music. I know that might sound like weird, but no joke. There's a playlist on Spotify called Jazz for Study. Absolutely have fallen in love with it. I found that playlist it was my freshman year, the first semester, and I found out that I can't focus when I read. Like I literally, my mind starts to wander. I don't know what it is, but I just cannot focus on something like just being there. Like it is really hard for me to read when there's noise around, and not even just like audible noise, like physical, like visual noise. When there's just things around me that are so easily able to distract me, I can't focus on what I'm reading. So I had to read a book for the first time in a long time. And I found that Jazz for Study playlist, and it helped me just stay honed in on the content. And I was reading about some tribe that had like not a lost language, but a very niche language that only that tribe spoke. So only that tribe in the entirety of the world spoke that. So it was pretty interesting. And the jazz very much helped me almost in my mind visualize what it was that was happening. And so put that on the back burner because I only used that for when I was reading that specific book. But then I found that having that on when I wasn't like listening to a video or something just helped me stay honed in and focused on the readings, on taking notes, on just kind of being present and having the mindset of like, I'm going to get work done. Now, do I need that music to be playing? No, I've definitely worked in silence before. And it's all thanks, I think, to that music helping me get adjusted and get in the mindset of like, when I'm here to do work, if I have my iPad in front of me, I'm going to do work, right? But I love having that jazz music on, either in a speaker, in my AirPods, or just, playing softly through my laptop or something. Not an essential, but damn near it. Next thing is a clean working environment. For me, I think having a lot of stuff everywhere, disorganized, clutter, it just doesn't help because I'm not diagnosed with OCD, but there's something up. Like if there's a clutter around, I compulsively just want to stop what I'm doing and fix it. I'm not like super crazy where like pencils need to be lined up and shit like that, but like I definitely, and I've gotten better at it. Like, telling myself no, just let it be. But there's times where it's like, damn, like I need to fix that. So setting up a clean work environment for me just optimizes my ability to study at my best. And when I say study, it really is just like taking notes for the purposes of doing good on the quizzes, thus doing good on the comprehensive tests. Like that's kind of the layout, right? But yeah, clean working environment, essential. If we go study at a coffee place, a lot of it is like taking out what needs to be taken out, leaving whatever doesn't need to be taken out in my backpack, and just kind of having stuff spread out. And I want enough space, good elbow room, things like that. But pretty essential, in my opinion, is a clean working environment for, doing your homework. The next thing isn't really an essential, but for some reason it really helps me. It's having a drink of some sort, not like an alcoholic drink, but coffee, just straight up regular water, or even like a sparkling water. A lot of times I'll find myself doing like homework at my desk, and I have my mini fridge right here under my desk, and I'll be studying and I'm like, man, I can't really focus. So I'll pop in, grab a sparkling water, crack it open, take a swig. I don't know what it is, but it just like turns me on into like a studying machine. I'm like, yeah, that's what I needed. And then I just start jotting down notes like crazy. I'm honed in, aced the quiz like it was nothing. It definitely helps. And then when we go out and we study at a coffee place, obviously having coffee helps, and just kind of looking at my screen every now and then taking a sip kind of keeps me in that loop. Like take a sip every now and then, but keep studying, keep my eyes on the prize, get it done. But those are my key study habits. I don't have anything too crazy. It really is just clean working environment. Jazz music is possible. I try to listen to the lo-fi beats, which I don't mind, but I prefer the jazz music. It's more melodic, kind of brings me to a happy place. The lo-fi is really slow and sonder to me, and it doesn't really get me in the mood to study. More so like I'm trying to sleep. Lo-fi beats are alright. Not my cup of tea compared to jazz for study. But something that I do occasionally listen to other than jazz for study is the cozy Christmas jazz. I listen to that every now and then, but sometimes it doesn't help because then I'll like start to sing in my head, right? Because there's words to these jazz songs because they're just jazz iterations of, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer or something. And so I'll be like, I'm like, no, I gotta focus. So I can't always listen to that, but during the holidays, that is especially good to turn on, just to chill to, or to actually get some work done. But I know that last year that was definitely a ritual of mine. You wake up, throw some cozy Christmas jazz on, open the window, and you just enjoy the vibes. Like I'd really just be sitting here, like on my phone with the cozy Christmas jazz playing, and then just like drinking like a water or something. That was the vibe last year, and that's exactly what's gonna happen this year. But nothing too crazy. Jazz music, clean work environment, and a drink. And then planning ahead the entire semester, just jotting down all of the due dates, and then kind of week by week, just figuring out what it is that I have to do. I don't like planning out what I'm going to do week by week that far in advance. It really is like I go at it week by week on what I'm going to do, but I have all of my due dates already listed out. So it's nothing's a surprise for me. It's just figuring out the optimal way to go about doing work. Especially too because my job schedule doesn't change and my school schedule doesn't really change. It's more so like my personal life. A lot of things happen, things come up, get invited to places, or like we hang out very often. And so I think going about what I'm doing on a week to week basis, even on a day to day basis, just leaving it up in the air is helpful for me, because then I don't feel so stuck to a schedule and I give myself that leeway. So that's what is effective for me. I know everybody's different, but for me, that's definitely optimal. I think all of those key tips right there.
Yeah, I think it's really cool how you can listen to jazz music when you study. I can't listen to music when I study. Like, even if it's like there's no lyrics, I can't listen to it. Like,
Yeah, I
for
can't
some
have
reason,
lyrics.
it just, I don't know. Like, I hear noise and I can't do it. But I do listen to like white noise because like I don't know. It's literally just like this little buzz. And I put in my headphones and I'm like, I just not tone out, but like I tune in to what I'm doing and I totally forget that anything's happening around me. And I think that's crazy because sometimes I forget the music's there or like the little noise, and I'll remember like, oh, my 30 minutes is up, right, or whatever. And I'm like, what is it? What am I listening to? And I forget I have my headphones on. And that's why I couldn't hear anything happening around me, which isn't safe in some instances. But when I do it at my house, it doesn't matter. So I like that. I like that you can do that. Also, I think that's where we differ, where you don't need a schedule. I need a schedule or I freak out. Like, just a little bit. Just a little bit. And it's kind of like when I do have a schedule and I don't follow it, I start panicking. And so maybe that's not healthy. And maybe I shouldn't be making a schedule like that all the time.
Yeah, that's why I stopped, because I'd bug out. I'd be like, fuck, I had like all these things on my to-do list to do and I didn't get them done. So it just doesn't help with me.
Yeah, but then it's like when I do follow it, it works out so well and it helps my mental health. But when I am off by an hour, I literally freak out. It's
Yeah.
not, so that, it's like 50-50.
Yeah, like it's satisfying to cross everything off. Don't get me wrong, but restricting myself to like hourly basis on what it is that I need to get done just makes me anxious because I know I'm not going to stick to it just by my nature. So why do that to myself?
Yeah, well, it's like I do stick to it,
Mm-hmm.
but then something happens.
Mm-mm-mm.
And and then like I'm off by an hour or two, and like my whole thing is thrown off, kind of. So it works for me, it really does, but I don't go hour by hour like this is what I'm doing. I'm eating here, I'm relaxing here, right? I just kind of plan like, oh, these 2 hours in the morning I'm studying, these 3 hours at night I have to do work.
Yeah.
So yeah. So it helps when I do it like that, but if I did do like the hour by hour every day, I'd probably like flip if I didn't follow it. So no, that's good that you kind of just leave everything up for grabs.
I think it helps too with the structure of my classes this semester. It's very different than what it was in previous semesters. And I very much enjoy it. So I have one in-person class, not by choice. I really did want all online, but my the class that I was taking that was available to me, his online versions of the class were completely full.
Damn.
But he's already saying, he's like, maybe we convert to online. He's like, by policy, he had to have in-person classes by UTSA policy, but he was like, I had it listed as that. There's nothing saying that I can't just make this an online one, So he's played with it. We've already had an online meeting. We're going to do another one for like class presentations. And he's going to take a vote, see what the class likes more. In my opinion, I prefer online. I know a lot of people that I work with really don't like online courses. And I know people that I've talked to in my classes, so not really friends, but just like straight up classmates, have said that they don't like online. Like it doesn't work for them. And that's fine. Like it doesn't work for everybody. But, like they have like a disdain for it. Like they hated it. And maybe it's because they associate online classes with like the whole COVID-19 thing and like being quarantined and being forced to stay inside, which I understand that. A lot of people that wasn't for them. That wasn't their cup of tea. They couldn't handle it. And that's fine. But for me personally, I prefer online because it just works so much better for my schedule. Less driving, obviously. That's one big thing too. Better for the environment and better for my mental health. But it was, I think the biggest thing that contributed to, I think, this semester starting off very strong was, for one, most of my classes being online, and for two, like how they spread their work out. One of my classes, my personal selling class, has a weekly like assignment or like a weekly module with an associated quiz with that module. Very easy. I get it done at the beginning of the week every Monday. Knock it out. The week's work is done on Monday, right? For that class. And then you got my statistics. Now that one isn't weekly. It's like you have like a month to do each module. And then I know this next month I have 3 modules to do, but it's like 2 short ones and then like 1 semi-large one. So in the end, it's like the same amount of work as the first module was. That was due like this past week, but I already did it like a couple weeks back. So then you look at my digital marketing, and they have the simulation stuff, which is due weekly as of like this last week. But then you have like the actual modules, which again aren't due. Like the next module isn't due for 2 weeks. And then the module following after that isn't due for a month. But I have the option to get it all done like this week if I wanted to. So, there's a lot of leeway with how you can approach your work and how much time you want to give yourself, essentially, which I really like. And so I've been very diligent in telling myself that I got to get things done earlier, for the simple fact that I didn't do that in previous semesters. And that's how I ended up getting a lot of zeros or a lot of incompletes on a lot of my work. And the biggest thing too was just, eat that frog. I don't know if you ever heard that, but it's like getting the thing that you're dreading the most, such as eating a frog, getting that out of the way first thing is just going to help the day go by faster. It's going to help all of your other tasks, all your other assignments just go by easier, and it's going to be a lot more enjoyable. The whole idea of that was that if you save it for last and you keep pushing it off, you're just going to keep doing pointless things just so that way you can put it off. And then by the time you get to the end of the day, you will have wasted the day doing pointless things trying to put that thing off, and you're just going to put it off till the next day. And it's just going to be repeated until finally it comes down to where you absolutely have to get it done. And more often than not, you're not going to get it done. Right. And that was the case for me. I just kept putting off my statistics homework last semester until the day that it was due. And then it was a couple hours till it was due. And I was like, fuck, you know what? I got to do it. Then I'd be up till 11:59 when it was due. And I only got half of it done. So, I've been approaching life very differently, but especially my school assignments. And I think it has proven to be very fruitful for me, both for my mental health as well as just my grades in general. But I do definitely attribute that to how my classes are set up. If all 4 of my classes were like things are due at the end of every week, I don't know if I'd be as successful, and I don't know if I'd be as stress-free as I am right now.
Yeah, I do like when my assignments are due in the beginning of the week. Like for one of my classes, I only have one assignment due every week on Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
And it's before class, so around like 12 o'clock because our class at 12:35. And it really helps. Like it's a mini essay, but it's super easy because you get to pull in like your experiences.
Mm-hmm.
And so I like that because it kind of helps you think a different way too. But no, I get what you mean. Having stuff due in the beginning really helps me like schedule out the rest of my week. So I'm like, okay, I finished everything.
Mm-hmm.
And now I can just focus on the next assignments, and I have like a whole other week to do that.
Yeah, it definitely helps. And I think too with my statistics homework, to be more specific, because a lot of my other stuff I can get done like in one sitting, but with statistics, because I'm doing it so early on, I'm like giving myself that leeway where I can do one assignment over the course of 5 days.
Mm-hmm.
So rather than trying to cram so much in and really burn myself out in the span of a few hours, I'm only sitting down for about half an hour a day and doing a couple questions. By the end of the week, I'm done and I aced it, And so that has helped immensely because it is so much easier on my brain. And then it makes me feel like I have way more time in the day to do things that I enjoy. Spend time with you, spend time with family, chill with my dogs, play video games, take a nap if I'm really tired, It's just been a lot better.
Mm-hmm. No, that's really good. I'm glad that you have that availability.
Me too. Way different than like previous semesters. Man, previous semesters would be like there's multiple stuff due like every week. So I think it was just luck of the draw, the classes that I picked.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully it could be too, different mindset, different habits, different way that I set up too. Like the Google Tasks and Google Calendar combo that I mentioned, that's new to this semester, entirely new. And it has proved to work for me. So I'll probably carry that on into next semester and hopefully it works out. Only 2 semesters left and we're done. But, yeah. Man. Good episode so far. What do you think?
Yeah, it's good. I'm just super tired.
Yeah. Well, I think we're at a pretty good place to close it out. What do you think?
Yeah. I'm just not used to recording this early. I don't know. It really depends.
I get that.
If we record early or like earlier than we usually do, I'm kind of like thrown off because I can see the sun.
Mm-hmm.
And then if we record super late, depending on like what we've been working on or doing, I'm either like really awake or like tired again.
Just drained.
I feel like I'm tired all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I really got to figure that out. But
you're just doing a lot. You've been really stressed lately, so it's normal.
Oh my God, this past week, that was crazy.
That was rough.
I've been doing good for like a whole month. Like I've been a little stressed, but I haven't like, gotten super stressed. And this past week, I was just stressed all week because I had so many like projects due, which was crazy. Okay, it was one project, but then I had like 2 major like assignments due too. So it was a lot because I'm used to only doing like one thing for like per class, but I had like multiple things due for my classes.
Yeah. No, that was crazy.
But we're fine now. We're
Yeah.
fine. We made it through. Next week will be better.
You're chilling.
It's all about that mindset.
Mindset. That's what it is. We just talked about that.
I know.
But
I'm trying to reinforce that.
yeah. Thank y'all for listening, though. Really appreciate it. We hope you enjoyed the episode. Be sure to follow us on our socials at Live with JM Pod, all lowercase, no spaces in between, on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. We're starting to post pictures more, kind of changing up the way that we're approaching our whole socials thing. So, definitely show some love. Check it out. Let us know what you think. If you're on YouTube, thank you for listening. Be sure to like, subscribe, comment down below. What are some study habits that you use that you find effective for you? Are you in college? Are you in high school? Let us know. But other than that, is there anything else you'd like to add?
No.
Okay. Sounds good. Well, thank y'all for listening, and we will catch you in the next one.
Bye.
Bye.